as that happens, ATP will be generated. Okay, so maka di situlah where ATP is going to be produced or recharged. Okay, so lecture number 6. Okay. Right. Wih, sorry, salah tekan. Okay, all right. So that's the final part of carbohydrate synthesis yang pertama. Okay, so this is the last part. Okay, so we started with glucose. Okay, from glucose we went into glycolysis. Okay, glycolysis menghasilkan pyruvate. Okay, pyruvate dibawa masuk dalam matrix mitokondria menjalankan Krebs cycle. Okay, from Krebs cycle, you get all the NADH, you get all the FADH2. Okay, all these are brought into the intermembrane protein, okay, where it will meet the complex number 1 kalau dia NADH. Kalau dia FADH2, dia akan berjumpa dengan complex number 2. Okay, so basically what happens is that is the movement of electron and proton, okay, to via the ubiquinone, okay, pergi kepada complex 3. Okay, then from complex 3 the proton is further moved into complex 4. Okay, by who? By the cytochrome C, right? Jadi dia akan pergi kepada complex number 4, right? So that is the end of ETC. Okay, so now the couple ataupun pasangan bagi tidak balas itu adalah oxidative phosphorylation, which basically happens to bring back the hydrogen yang telah dipump keluar, bawa masuk balik dalam mitochondria matrix. Right, ini tadi lah. Okay, so we went into this first part just now. Okay, so complex 1 to 3, complex 2 to 3, okay, from 3 to 4, okay, where water is produced, and by the end of this, you have a lot of hydrogen yang dibawa masuk di dalam the intermembrane, right? So then the hydrogen will be brought back in here, okay, masuk sini, okay, by the complex number 5. Okay, jadi kalau kamu tengok sini ya, if you look at complex number 5, okay, where oxidative phosphorylation happens, okay, if you look at this structure, macam nampak cantik je, macam simple. But actually, this structure is very, very complex. Okay, and you will see the complexity of the structure as we're going to go into the class hari ini lah. Okay, so kita akan masuk bagian ni. Okay, so we're going to close today's lecture with the 6th lecture on oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, mengacau benda tu. Right. Okay. So after complex number 4, then the continuation is complex number 5. Okay. So at complex number 5, apa yang berlaku adalah oxidative phosphorylation will occur. Okay. And complex number 5 is also known as ATP synthase. Okay. Now some textbooks it says that complex number 5 is still part of the ETS. Okay, some textbooks say no, it is a different part because dekat sini berlaku oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, but basically, to me taklah beza sangat. Okay, because it's actually a couple. Kamu nak cakap is a continuation pun boleh, is a couple pun boleh, right? Okay, so in complex number 5, okay, what happens is that complex number 5 catalyzes the synthesis of ATP from ADP. So this is where ATP will be produced, okay, from ADP. Okay, sebenarnya when you look at ATP production, there are a few ways ATP can be produced. Okay, ATP can be produced tak semestinya di dalam complex number 5. Okay, don't get it wrong. Jangan kamu ingat all ATP is produced in complex number 5. Tak semestinya. Okay, ATP can also be produced in the cytoplasm. Okay, and when ATP is produced in the cytoplasm, then you call this substrate phosphorylation. Okay, but when ATP is produced in complex number 5, okay, during in this process we call it oxidative phosphorylation. So ada dua jenis, substrate phosphorylation dengan oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, sama, dia menghasilkan ATP. Okay, basically to recharge the ADP, okay, to form ATP, right? Okay, so ATP synthase, okay, is a specific F-type ATPase, okay, called F0 ataupun F0, F1 ATPase. Okay, right? Jadi kalau kita nak tengok dia punya bentuk macam-macam. Okay, selalunya kalau at your level, kalau kamu tengok dalam in your matrix ke, in your form 5 ataupun in your form 6, selalunya kamu akan tengok ATPase tu dia lukis macam ni, dalam bentuk tombol dan dalam bentuk ni. We call knob and stalk. Okay, tombol dan ini. Okay, but when you really look at it, the structure is actually very, very complex. Kalau kita nak tengok. Okay, so it is not just the tombol. Okay, and it is not just the stalk. Okay, but when you look at the ATPase punya synthase, basically, okay, dia terbagi kepada dua. Okay, firstly, you have the part that is embedded in the membrane. Okay, so this membrane is the cristae tadi lah, the lipatan tadi, lipatan mitochondria. Okay, so the lipatan mitochondria will hold half of the I just call it complex 5 lah. Okay, complex 5. Okay, and this part is known as the FO ataupun F0. Okay, jadi F0, jadi F0 ataupun FO. Okay, bahagian ini berada di dalam membrane, right? Okay, and then you have the knob structure. Okay, the knob structure looks into the matrix of the mitochondria. Okay, jadi kalau kamu nak tengok, let me go back to the gambar yang tadi ni. So you have the F0 or the F0 structure at the membrane, and then you have the F1, okay, or the knob structure. It faces the matrix of the mitochondria. Okay, jadi ini secara ringkas dua bahagian. Now, itu untuk budak tingkatan 5 lah. Now, for your level, it's not dua bahagian lagi. It's actually a very super complex structure. Okay, terdiri daripada different types of protein. Okay, the alpha 3, beta 3, the gamma and the epsilon portion. Okay, you even have the A, B, C, okay, subunit. Okay, ini ada A sini ya. Okay, which is the A subunit. Okay, now this A subunit is not part of this stock. Okay, this A subunit is actually dia di luar. Okay, kalau kamu tengok okay, let me go again. This is the knob. Okay, this is the stock, and actually there is a third structure here, tepi ni. Kalau kamu nampak. Okay, this structure is called the stator. Okay, ataupun dia tidak bergerak. Okay, itulah very complex Okay, right. So you have the stator here. Okay, the stator consists of A subunit. Okay, it consists of the B subunit and consists of the delta subunit. Okay, A, B, delta. Okay, so A, B, delta, and it also binds to the A3 beta 3. Sebab itu the stator, maksudnya kawasan ni tak bergerak. Okay, this white area, this blue, green, this purple, and this the knob, okay, is stator, maksudnya static, tak bergerak. Okay, A subunit, B subunit, delta subunit, alpha 3, beta 3. Okay, ni. Okay, and then you have the stalk. Okay, the stalk is the C subunit. Okay, C subunit, which is the stalk. Okay, and the stalk is attached to the delta subunit. Not the delta subunit. It's actually attached to the epsilon. Dia tak tunjuk sini epsilon. Okay, delta is part of the A. Okay, delta is ni. Okay, actually the C is attached to the epsilon. Ya, nampak I, and the gamma. Okay, these three structure they move. They basically berpusing macam macam dynamo. Okay, macam motor. Right? Okay, yang bahagian yang knob ni, this is the knob. So this is how you draw it kalau protein. Okay, so basically the F0 structure and the F1 structure. Dalam membrane dekat mitochondrial matrix. Okay, masih lagi banyak lagi kita akan tengok ni nanti. Right? So when you look at the ATP synthase or the complex number 5, okay, it basically looks like this. Okay, ada dua lapisan, okay, which is the FO, okay, the stalk, okay, then you have the knob, okay, kita akan masuk okay, the knob, okay, stalk and knob, okay. So the F1, the stock component is embedded in the membrane. Okay, saya dah cakapkan tadi. Okay, it is a proton channel. Okay, that spans the membrane. So basically, kalau kamu tengok the stock, okay, it spans the membrane. Jadi maksud dia menghubungkan membrane di the intermembrane kepada the matrix. Okay, it's on the membrane. So dia menghubungkan. Okay, so what happen is that the proton, okay, the H plus kan tadi dah banyak. We have a lot of H. Okay, balik pada dia. So all this H yang berada dekat intermembrane, it will be pumped back and it will go first through the stock. Dekat sini dia akan masuk dalam stock ni. Lepas tu dia akan bawa masuk. Okay, so ni masuk. Ni masuk. Okay, jadi I'm going to go through this slowly. Okay, there is one cartoon nanti saya akan tunjuk pada kamu juga for you to remember. Okay, penting ni. Right? Okay, so it's a proton channel. Okay, so the proton akan masuk dekat sini. Okay, dia basically akan pusing, dia akan masuk sini. Okay, you see this yellow structure here? So basically what happen is that the H, dia akan masuk dekat sini. Dekat yang macam ni. Macam, it looks like this. This one. So it looks like macam ni lah. It's a cuff. Okay. The hydrogen akan masuk dekat sini. Then the hydrogen will go into this yellow region. Nampak ni, yellow region ni. Okay. And this blue thing, dia basically berpusing macam ni. Okay. The A ni, okay, the hydrogen comes here. Okay, here. Lepas tu ini akan berpusing. Sampai dia pusing, dia lepaskan hydrogen. Pusing, dia lepaskan hydrogen. Pusing, lepaskan hydrogen. And that hydrogen parking dekat sini sekejap. Lepas tu dia akan pusing, baru dia keluar. Pusing. Okay, I will show you later. Okay, I just want you to see the structure. Okay, very, very complex. Okay, so the proton will travel through this channel. Okay, this channel lah. Yang kuning ya. So dia akan park dekat kuning tu, dia akan pusing. Dia akan pusing, keluar. Pusing, keluar. Okay, lepas tu dia akan masuk dalam ni. Okay, so you have again the knob. Okay, the F1 knob. Okay, contains a catalytic subunit. Okay, now dekat mana ATP dihasilkan? ATP dihasilkan dekat sini. Okay, ini apa fungsi ini? Ini adalah untuk membawa masuk H+, the proton. Okay, jadi proton bawa masuk sini, sampai proton itu masuk, what basically happens is that once the proton masuk, dia akan pusingkan bahagian biru ini, the stock. So when the bahagian biru ni berpusing, the epsilon and the gamma pun berpusing. Okay, dia akan berpusing di dalam ini. Okay, the A3 beta 3 ni ya, alpha 3 beta 3, dia ada 3 alpha, dia ada 3 beta. Okay, so when this is this is the gamma. Okay, the gamma basically masuk macam ni. Okay, saya tunjuk ni, okay, sengaja saya letak ni ya. So that when you move, this thing, dia akan ganggu ni, lepas tu dia akan ganggu sebelah ni, dia akan ganggu ni. Okay, you see this thing right? So when it ganggu, yang the alpha 3 and the beta 3 is also terganggu di dalam. Okay, once dia terganggu di dalam, dia buka sekejap, dia tutup sekejap, dia buka sekejap, tutup sekejap. Okay, so as dia buka sekejap, P fosfat akan masuk dengan ADP. Lepas tu dia tutup. So when dia tutup, the ADP dengan P yang masuk dalam tadi dia bergabung. Okay, lepas tu dia buka balik. So once dia buka balik, then the ADP bergabung dengan the P menjadi ATP. So dia akan terlepas. We'll show you the cartoon later. Okay, just to show you lah. This one. Right? So this projects into the mitochondrial matrix. Maksudnya ini dalam mitochondrial matrix. Okay. Right? And this is also found in the chloroplast system. Okay, jadi firstly you have dua bahagian di dalam membrane, then di dalam matrix. Okay, and when you look at the complex 5 further, dia basically ada ada 3 main structure. One is the stalk that turns. You have the knob that does not turn, and you have the stator. So this stator is part of this knob. Jadi dia akan tahan, macam dia tahan supaya ini tak bergerak. Ini sentiasa bergerak. Bergerak. Ini tahan tak bergerak, ini tahan supaya dia tak bergerak. I will show you later. Okay. So the F0 knot ataupun the F knot structure, okay, is made of A, B, C, 10 to 14. Okay, apa maksud dia? Okay. So if you look at the F knot ni ataupun the F0 ni, okay, is made of A, B, C, 10 to 11. Okay, A maksudnya ini. Okay, A ni. The cuff. Dia punya macam, dia punya itulah cuff. Okay. And it is made of B2. B2 is this one. Okay. And B2 is actually extension, is all the way here. Okay. A is the cuff. Okay. B2 is the tulang ni. Okay. And then C10 to 14. Okay. C10 to 14 is this one. Okay, apa maksud dia? Maksud dia C10 to 14 adalah, if you look at this ribbon, okay, in some animal dia ada 10 ribbon. Okay, in some organism dia ada 14 ribbon. So basically, when you look at this one, okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kamu kira lah. Okay, it depends. Some organism dia ada 10, some organism dia ada 14. Okay, jadi this is the F naught. Okay. Right? Now the F1 yang menonjol ni keluar, okay, is the alpha 3 beta 3. Now alpha 3 beta 3 is the green part. Okay, so you have 3 green yang muda, you have 3 green yang tua. Okay, 3 dark green, 3 light green. Okay, so 3 alpha and 3 beta. Okay, the gamma is this one. So the gamma is this one. The delta is, I cannot see the delta. This delta is this one. Okay, and then the epsilon is dekat ni. Okay, please look at this structure because they are very, very complex. Okay, now the 10 to 4C tadi, okay, this one, the 10 to 4C, okay, is the base of the rotor, and it depends on the species. Okay, if yeast and E. coli, they have 10 ribbon dekat sini, 10. Kira lah 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 10. Okay, in plant and animals, we have up to 14. Jadi we have 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14. Alright, jadi look at you relook at this lecture nanti, okay, you Google the structure for complex 4, you tengok apa nama tu, YouTube, okay, it gives you a clearer picture. Okay, so the C subunit, okay, the C subunit, this one, the ring tadi, the 14 to the 10 subunit, okay, is connected to the alpha 3 beta 3, okay, by the gamma and the epsilon ni. So this, the stalk is connected to the knob by the gamma and the epsilon subunit. Okay, jadi just to show you banyak lagi lah dia punya tu. Okay. Right? So the C, epsilon and delta. Okay, the C yang biru ini, epsilon is this one, and the delta and the gamma unit, okay, forms a rotor. Maksudnya this region yang biru ini, biru ini, dia turn. Okay, dia sentiasa pusing. Okay, yang ini kuning dengan yang hijau ni dia stay saja, dia stay. Yang biru di tengah-tengah tu dia sentiasa pusing. Okay, turns. Okay. The rotation of the gamma unit. Okay, gamma ni dia berada di dalam A3 and B3. Okay, the green one is the A3, B3. Okay, as this turn, okay, there is some kind of macam ni lah, macam ada satu, there is a groove. Bukan groove, macam ada extension, a slight extension on the gamma. So kalau dia ni pusing, setiap kali ni kena, dia akan mengganggu. Dia akan ganggu, dia akan macam pisahkan ni, dia ganggu the subunit lah, or the alpha and the beta. Okay. Alright. Ni semua dah jelas lah, I think guys. Okay. So the entire structure, okay, is often called a molecular motor. Kenapa? Sebab itulah yang biru ni, the C, the gamma and the epsilon, they are always turning. Okay? Kenapa dia turn? Sebab elektron masuk sini. Every time elektron masuk, dia akan turn sekali, masuk sekali, turn sekali, masuk sekali, turn sekali. Okay? Right. I think I'll show you this. Boleh dengar tak? Can you hear that sound just now? Can you hear that?
Not really.
No, Doc.
Ada kah? Tak ada. Tak kuat lah. Try to make it stronger. Sekejap lah. Boleh dengar tak? Is that louder?
Sir.
Boleh kan? Alright. Okay, so I'll play this, then you know what I'm trying to explain.
Concentration gradient of protons across a membrane drives the synthesis of ATP by a
Okay, I'll just cakap sikit So ingat this is the stalk yang berada dekat membrane. Okay, this is the knob that faces the matrix of the mitochondria. Okay, these are the stator. Okay, jadi yang bahagian ini this part and this part, they are always turning. This part and the knob, they don't turn.
large complex in the membrane called ATP synthase. ATP synthase, also called the F1-FO ATP synthase, has two main parts, F1, which protrudes into the cytoplasm, and FO, which sits in the membrane. FO consists of 12 identical subunits designated C.
Okay, sound tak jelas kah? Because mine is maximum. Okay, nanti this link nanti saya ada letak dalam lecture note. Okay, kamu boleh tengok sendiri lah. It should be it's in YouTube. Okay, but I just let you see ni nanti
A
dulu.
single stalk, called the gamma subunit, extends from FO through F1. Surrounding the gamma subunit in F1 are three pairs of alpha and beta subunits, which service the sites of ATP synthesis. Other subunits designated A and D connect the F1 knob to the membrane. The proton gradient across the membrane drives FO to rotate. Protons enter through a channel in subunit A and move into the C subunits, causing FO to rotate in 120-degree steps around the axle. Protons are released from the C subunits into the cytoplasm. Note that as FO rotates, the axle also rotates, but F1 does not. F1 is held in place by its connection to the membrane through the A and B subunits. However, the axle turning inside F1 causes F1 to change conformation, catalyzing the formation of ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate. An ATP molecule is produced for every 3 protons that cross the membrane through the ATP synthase channel. This function, in which a proton potential powers ATP production, is highly conserved. ATP synthase complexes with the same general structure can be found in the cell membranes of bacteria, in the inner membranes of mitochondria, and in the thylakoid membranes of chloroplasts.
Okay, so basically what you see here is that all the hydrogen that is gathered in the dekat luar ni, bukan luar, dekat in the intermembrane space, basically the hydrogen is like air, kincir air. You pernah tengok kincir air? So basically the hydrogen is like kincir air. So hydrogen comes in and it turns the stock. Okay, macam air lah, kalau air kena kan, lepas tu dia pusing-pusing lah. So yang berpusing adalah ini. Yang pusing adalah ini, termasuk dia punya ni tadi, the gamma ni. So in the gamma, kalau kamu nampak dia punya keratan rentas gamma tu. Okay. So this is the gamma. Lepas tu kalau kamu, if you do keratan rentas, okay, basically dekat ujung dia, it has macam benda ni. So every time it turns, dia akan turn. Lepas tu the alpha, the 3 alpha kan, alpha, beta. Okay, the alpha 3, beta 3, dia akan terganggu. Macam kena cucuk lah. Kalau ni pergi sini, dia pergi cucuk.
Inside F1, this is F1 to
Waktu dia cucuk ni, this macam there is an opening here. So when there is an opening here, what happens is that ADP and P akan masuk ke dalam. Okay? So pusing. So ni pusing kan? Dia pusing. Sekarang dia pergi dekat sini. Okay? Alright. So this becomes the close. This becomes the open. Okay? This becomes the catalytic. Jadi dia ada 3 region. So kalau if you look at this one just now, what happens is that one comes here, then this part akan macam terbuka. Okay, so ATP will be released. Okay, then as ATP is released, ADP masuk dalam. Okay, comes in. Then you will release this one, then it comes in. Okay.
function in which a proton is ATP synthase complexes with the same
Okay.
structure can be membranes of bacteria.
Right. So, like I say, it's actually the system is quite complicated. Firstly, it's complicated because you have to know the structure tadi ya. You have to know where is the knob, where is the stalk, and then what makes the knob, what makes the structure. Okay, is it a beta subunit? What kind of subunit are you looking at? Okay, and then is it the A3, B3? Okay, right. So we cover that ah. So boleh ah. I think if you still need to see how apa tu, how the mechanism happens, you tengok lah nanti. I put the link in the notes. Okay, then you can look at it in the YouTube nanti. Okay, right. So basically you have ni lah. Okay, this is subunit A, which is the cuff. Okay, so in subunit A ada lubang. Okay, so what happen is that the hydrogen ion will comes into this lubang. Masuk lubang ini. Okay, and because this, the subunit C kan dia C10, C14. So you have, sometimes you have 10, kan, bacteria ada 10. Okay, there is an aspartic acid here. Okay, so basically hydrogen come here. Okay, then it will meet with the aspartic acid because it's part of this one. So then they will start to turn. Terima, turn. Masuk hydrogen, turn. Masuk one hydrogen, turn. Masuk one hydrogen, turn. And by the time it makes a 360-degree turn, then yang ini adalah lubang masuk. Ini adalah lubang keluar. So, dia masuk sini, pusing. Lepas tu dia jumpa lubang keluar. Lepas tu dia keluar dekat sini. So, once the hydrogen comes here, dia akan bebas lah. Dan dia akan masuk dalam set. So, this is from the intermembrane. Pusing. Then dia masuk balik dalam matrix. Okay. So, the hydrogen is basically to drive the movement of the stalk. And when the stalk turns, the gamma berpusing. Okay, so gamma pusing, dia akan, so dia ada benda di dalam tu kan, it will makes the changes in the alpha and the beta. Okay, right? So this is the cuff. So hydrogen masuk sini. Okay, dia melekat dekat sini. Okay, pusing sampai dekat sini dia keluar. Okay, so that will be released into the matrix. Right? So that is how things work. Okay, jadi this is just the another sketching of it lah, another cartoon. Itu yang video tadi yang kamu boleh tengok nanti. Right? Okay. Right, so just to say lah dekat apa yang berlaku. Okay, so ATP is generated in the alpha 3 beta 3, okay, which is the tombol tadi the stalk. Okay, so what happens? One ADP comes in, one phosphate comes in. Then after that, they get tightened together. Okay, after that, as the thing turn again, then they release. Masuk, tight, release. Masuk, tight, release. Yeah, so that is the wonders of ATP production. Right? Okay, so yang lain tu kamu baca sendiri. Okay, inilah. Okay, this is just to show, okay, the ATP masuk, lepas tu dia bergabung, lepas tu dia akan dirilis. Okay, nah ni masuk, okay, dia gabung, dia release. Okay, so there are three parts: the loose part, the tight part, and the opening and the open. Okay, so how do you get this? It's because of the turning of the gamma subunit tadi yang membuatkan ni. Okay, so ni pun saya dah jelaskan. You can see a better, clearer picture of it in the YouTube cartoon tadi. Alright. Cerita. Right. Okay, so this is just a summary lah. Okay, so what are the numbers of or electron or hydrogen that is being used throughout the two process tadi? Okay, the two couple lah. Okay, now electron transport chain. Okay, as the electron is transported from complex number 1 and number 2 pergi kepada 3, pergi kepada number 4, what happens is that 10 hydrogen is pumped. Okay, we established that just now, ingat kan? 4, 2. Okay, so 10 hydrogen is pumped out per electron. Okay, from all the way from not just NADH but also from the FADH. Okay, to combine with the oxygen. Okay, then oxygen will combine with water, with hydrogen, dan dia akan jadi air. Okay, so we already cerita itu tadi ya. Okay, so that is why the ratio, okay, sepatutnya you have 4 hydrogen, okay, pump into the matrix per ATP to cytosol. Okay, that's why dibahagikan tadi 10 jumlah, then 4 Okay, 4 ini adalah from the 4 that goes into the apa tu, the C structure tadi. Okay, the stock. Okay, so this is why by right one NADH, okay, will not actually produce 3 ATP, which you believe in your Prayu, in your STP kan, selalu cakap 1 NADH 3 ATP, 1 FADH2 2 ATP. Actually it's not so. Okay, the real calculation is that it's for 10 bagi dengan 4 yang masuk. Jadi sebenarnya for 1 NADH, okay, 2.5 is ATP is being produced. Okay, jadi I hope that one. Okay, jadi untuk FADH2, okay, 6 okay, hydrogen over the 4 yang masuk in the stock tadi. So 6 bagi 4 adalah 1.5. So it's not 2. Okay, yang kamu telah di apa tu was introduced to you lah. 1 NADH 3, 1 FADH 2 ATP. Okay, it's not so lah, right? Kena scam lah, someone saya kena scam sebelum ni, memang kamu kena scam. Okay, itu knowledge STP lah, itu knowledge STP, itu knowledge apa nama tu, itu knowledge Prayu. Now you're in second year, it's different, right? Okay, alright. Okay, yang ni I'm not gonna go into this one, I can just read it up. Okay, now remember when we first started with this with the lecture today, kan dia cakap chemi osmotic process is a couple. Okay, meaning ETC akan berkapal dengan oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, that is the normal case. Okay, however sometimes uncoupling can happen. Okay, jadi maksudnya the apa tu, sepatutnya one brings out H. Okay, and then another process brings in the H. Okay, now sometimes this does not happen. Okay, what happen is that sometimes there is orang ketiga. Ada orang kacau. So orang ketiga kacau, what happen is that there is still a movement of H going out and a movement of H going in, but not through the ATP synthase. Okay, sometimes there is another mechanism yang akan mengacau. Okay, and this third person or this third party is always called the uncoupler. Okay, maksud it would still help with the assimilation of the H untuk masuk dalam, but it is not through the ATP synthase. Okay, so uncouplers. Okay, now uncouplers, okay, will disrupt the coupling between the ETC and the oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, meaning that there is still movement. There is still movement of H, but not through the two processes now. Okay, and usually it's by a third element. Okay, now uncouplers are usually hydrophobic molecule. Okay, with a dissociable proton. Okay, jadi dia masih juga dapat bergerakkan proton, but not through ATP synthase. Okay, now uncouplers, they shuttle back and forth across the membrane, okay, carrying proton to dissipate the gradient. Okay, it depends. There are a lot of uncouplers. Sometimes the uncouplers dia akan bawa keluar the hydrogen. Sometimes some uncouplers dia akan bawa masuk hydrogen. Okay, so they shuttle the hydrogen across, okay, keluar masuk, okay, and this then they carry the proton to dissipate the gradient. All right. Now, what happens during uncoupling is that it's not actually normal. Okay, so it is not actually normal. But what happens is that when an uncoupler comes into the picture, okay, what happens is that there is some sort of energy loss. Okay, so without the oxidative phosphorylation, okay, energy will be lost as heat. Okay, selalunya some of example of uncoupler, okay, the more common one is dinitrophenol. Okay, now the good thing about uncouplers is that you need the production of ATP. Okay, you need the movement of hydrogen, okay, because you want to produce ATP. Okay, but what happened with uncoupler is that they still induce the movement of hydrogen in and out. Okay, but no ATP is being produced. Okay, so instead of produce ATP, they can produce heat. Okay, and one example is dinitrophenol. And this medicine, okay, when your cell has the ability to move hydrogen in and out without oxidative phosphorylation, especially, what happens is that you produce a lot of heat. Okay, a lot of heat, and this will still drive apa nama tu glycolysis. Okay, so glycolysis masih berlaku lagi because you're still gonna take the NADH, you're gonna still take the FADH2. Okay, but you're not going to produce ATP. Okay, you're going to produce heat. Okay, and what they found out was that if you can sustain this in the cell, what happens is that walaupun kamu tidak menghasilkan ATP, kamu akan tetap menggunakan your glucose. So what does that mean? That means that you are still going to burn calorie. Okay, so comes this medicine dulu in the 70s. Okay, they use dinitrophenol. Okay, to make sure that gula masih digunakan to produce the NADH. Okay, the more you produce NADH, the more apa nama tu gula akan dihasilkan. So meaning your body will be like burning energy. Okay, makan banyak-banyak pun kamu pergi buffet pun energy is going to be burned. Okay, either through ATP production or through angka plus which will help to produce more energy. Okay, dalam panas. Okay, masalahnya, okay, this was used as diet drug. Okay, memang betul orang yang guna dinitrophenol, what happens is that they use this, so ada pandai they use this to burn energy. Okay, meaning when you burn energy, you will lose weight. Okay, kamu akan kehilangan berat badan. Okay, but masalahnya dinitrophenol, like I said, it produce heat. So kalau kamu makan if people take dinitrophenol to lose weight, they do lose weight. Okay, it happens. Okay, memang berjaya. But the problem is that you're overheating your body. Okay, so when you overheat your body, people who take dinitrophenol, they can die. Why? Because they show symptom of demam panas. Okay, why? Because the temperature of the body naik sampai 42 darjah. Because instead of just producing ATP, you also producing energy, heat. Okay, so you produce a lot of heat, habislah badan kamu daripada 30 darjah jadi 42. Okay, tak ada COVID pun macam COVID. Okay, sehat pun jadi mati. Okay, and many people when they took dinitrophenol, when they take it uncontrollably, and when they have bad effect, they will die. Okay, why? Basically they die because of fever. Okay, or fever-like symptom, right? Jadi ini adalah satu contoh lah. Okay, jangan beli dinitrophenol lah. I don't think they sell it anymore anyway. Okay, kalau tak saya nak try sikit, try. Okay. Alright, okay. So this is just to show lah the cartoon tunjuk lah. Okay, so the nitrophenol, okay, the dinitrophenol, okay, you also have the dicumarol, okay, FCCP. Basically, dia tak perlukan the ATP synthase, dia even tak perlukan the ATC punya mechanism. Okay, this sebagai ubatan as medication or as an abuse of medication or bahan kimia. Basically, heat will produce because hydrogen kan keluar masuk. Without this, dekat sini pun dia akan dapat keluarkan. So keluar masuk. Basically you overheating your mitochondria. You overheat your mitochondria, you overheat your cell, you overheat your muscle, and you get fever. Alright? Okay. Now, this is when you talk about dadah, when you talk about drugs, okay, to induce energy production. Now, actually, secara semula jadi, okay, we also have some uncoupling that happens also. Okay, so there are some physiological uncoupling which is normal. Okay, only that this is control. Okay, because this is control, what happens is that badan memang kan tetap panas sedikit, but it will not go up to like 40 degree. So nobody will die lah. Okay. Uncoupling of ETC and the oxidative phosphorylation can also occur naturally. Okay, now this happens as a mean to produce heat. This is very common kalau kita tengok budak-budak baby. Okay, some baby, it is basically for them to produce heat through thermogenesis. Okay, sebab baby they don't have the ability kalau dia sejuk. Kalau kita sejuk, kita boleh cari baju. Kalau baby dia sejuk, kalau tak diberi baju, siapa nak bagi dia baju? Okay, so one of the things that badan budak-budak adalah they do have they do perform some sort of uncoupling. Okay, and that's why baby they can do this because they have different fat. Macam saya, lemak, kalau kamu bedah perut saya, lemak saya putih, you call it white fat. Okay, but for baby they have what is called is BAT, brown adipose tissue. Okay, maksud dia punya adipose tissue banyak mitochondria. Because dia banyak mitochondria warna dia gelap. So the fat is brown and not white. Okay, and usually kalau orang besar, we don't have a lot of brown adipose tissue. Selalunya budak-budak. So itu kan kalau budak-budak, kalau dia sakit, dan kamu tak bagi dia makan untuk seminggu, they will lose a lot of weight. Why? Because they still burn calorie through normal uncoupling lah. Macam kita susah sikit because orang besar by the time we're adult, we adapt by guna baju, on aircon, on kipas, guna heater. So our body start to not produce BAT naturally. Okay. However, there are some people who still, even though they besar, they still have a lot of brown adipose tissue. Orang macam ni lah yang kurus kering. Bagi dia makan ayam, bagi dia makan babi sekalipun, bagi dia makan benda-benda gemuk, they will still remain kurus. These are people yang you say metabolically they're very active because they still retain a lot of the bad ataupun the brown adipose tissue. Kamu bagi dia makan, dia memang gemuk. Bukan. Kamu bagi dia makan, dia memang tetap kurus. Okay, tak macam saya tengok makanan pun saya jadi gemuk. Okay, some people, even if you eat them, some people kan, you have friends like that, especially men, especially guys, dia akan makan banyak-banyak, they still will not gain weight because they still maintain that BAT somewhere in their body, right? And selalunya orang macam ini badan dia panas. Tak percaya, kamu tengoklah kawan kamu yang tak pandai-pandai gemuk. Kalau kamu pegang saya, memang kamu, badan Dr. Miki ni, badan Dr. Miki ni sejuk. Kenapa? Tak romantik. Okay. Tapi cuba kamu pegang badan orang yang kurus, badan dia panas. Tak percaya, you pegang antara lelaki dengan perempuan. Okay. Kamu cakap, Assalamualaikum, sekejap demi sains, pegang dulu tangan. Betul lah yang perempuan ni, dia kurang muscle, dia sejuk sikit. Tapi kamu pegang perut dia, yalah betul lah perut dia sejuk sikit. But when you pegang a man, haram. When you pegang a man, ataupun kamu pegang orang yang memang dia very active in sports or jenis yang tak pada gemuk, tak kira lelaki atau perempuan, kamu pegang, they are actually slightly warmer. Why? Inilah, because they still have this uncoupling activities, okay, daripada zaman kanak-kanak. Itulah orang macam ni, itulah saya harap-haraplah badan saya macam itulah, makan je macam-macam, still become kurus. Saya tengok je makanan, saya gemuk, terus tambah sekilo. Alright, okay, alright. So the uncoupling effect is very important for hibernating animal, okay, untuk menghasilkan tenaga, okay. Juga penting untuk newborn animals or mammals, okay, so that they can adapt to the cold lah. Meaning they will shiver, okay, they will shiver, ataupun bukan they will shiver, they will non-shiver but produce heat. How? Because they have the ability to burn the fat. So itu dia akan cepat kurus, right? Orang macam ni lah, right? Okay, so occurs in brown adipose tissue, like I said just now lah. Okay, why is the adipose tissue brown? Sebab dia rich in mitochondria. Mitochondria under the microscope, it's actually dark in color. Okay, dark red. So itu when you have a lot of mitochondria in the fat, they look very brown. Okay, because of the mitochondria. Kalau tidak, kalau macam lemak yang biasa-biasa ni kan, there's very little mitochondria. So itu susah sikit nak kurus lah. Okay, macam saya, okay, bukan sebab saya kuat makan, tapi saya kurang BAT. Alright, okay. So what happens is that these people, they have what is called UCP. Okay, UCP is called uncoupling protein. So meaning they have a lot of UCP on their mitochondria. And the UCP punya function is basically just like the nitrophenol tadi. Okay, basically it helps with the movement of hydrogen, okay, in between the membrane, okay, so that they produce heat instead of the movement in the ATPase untuk menghasilkan ATP, dia menghasilkan haba, okay, jadi badan dia panas, right? So just to show lah this one, okay, UCP1 dia letak di sebelah ni. So instead of just the normal complex number 4 and complex number 5, okay, these people are highly blessed, okay, with UCP1, okay, which is uncoupling protein number 1. Okay, so ini akan bantu dalam pergerakan pergerakan hidrogen keluar masuk. Alright, okay, so that is uncoupling done naturally. Alright, now in plants, uncoupling is also quite common, especially kalau tumbuhan itu dia nak panggil haiwan ataupun dia nak panggil pendem bunga. Okay, so plant they generate heat during fruit ripening. Okay, they also emit, they also perform heat release. Kenapa? Supaya dia mengeluarkan bau. Okay, to emit odors, okay, to attract pollinators. Okay, macam saya katakan tadi lah, it's a way for them to memanaskan bunga dia atau memanaskan badan dia lah, badan tumbuhan lah, so that odor will go out. Okay, so when odor go out, then you attract flies, or you attract serangga, right? Okay, so itu sajalah, just to say that plant also uncouple, right? Okay, so the reason is not known. Okay, just you know that it happens in plant. Oh, habis. Okay, any question? Right, so kalau tak ada soalan, itulah kuliah kita. Okay, so basically we covered the metabolism of glucose. Okay, so jadi kalau sekarang kamu dah tahulah, kalau orang tanya kamu, what happens kalau kamu makan nasi? Kamu cerita, oh nasi itu dikecilkan dalam mulut, kamu gigit. Okay, lepas tu dicerna oleh enzim, so that in the end from the long chain of starch, which is glucose, dia akan jadi satu chain. Okay, dia akan jadi satu unit lah, one monosaccharide. So that monosaccharide is brought into your blood. Okay, then to be absorbed into your cell. From your cell, immediately dia akan pack dengan fosfat. Okay, then it will undergo glycolysis. Okay, so what happens during glycolysis? You have to remember that. Okay, so from glycolysis you get pyruvate. Okay, from pyruvate you lose CO2. Okay, then you get acetyl-CoA. Okay, that undergoes, then TCA will happen. Then after TCA, then is the electron transport chain. Then after that is the oxidative phosphorylation. All the end menghasilkan air. Okay, sebab itu kalau kamu bernafas, air itu datang daripada dua sumber, daripada satu air yang kamu minum, dan juga air juga datang daripada mana tadi? Air juga datang daripada ni. Okay, by the end of the electron transport chain, I forgot to mention that. Okay, you also produce a lot of water vapor. So this water vapor that is going to be released from your nafas lah. Sebab itu orang tanya, daripada mana datangnya water in your breath? Basically from ETC. Okay, ETC and also come from the drink lah. Okay, it comes from the fruit, from the drink that you take, and also from the food that is being processed, right? Then in the end you're going to get ATP. Okay, so that concludes the first energy production. Okay, so I hope that interests you. Okay, alright, kalau ada soalan kamu boleh stay sekejap untuk tanya. If you segan-segan, you can type it, I can try to answer. If not, you can email or you can WhatsApp me. Okay, so thank you everyone. Like I said, this will be my last lecture for the next few weeks with you. Saya akan masih mengajar kamu juga nantilah. I think in week 12. Okay, I will come back with the PBL and the lab. Okay, otherwise for the next 6 or 7 weeks, you will not see me anymore. Okay, kamu akan tengok Dr. Simon dengan Dr. Awang. Right? Okay, thank you again. Happy Deepavali to everyone. Okay, please take your attendance if you haven't done so.